Hello and good morning. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I remember chatting last time, so I was excited about this interview.
Well, you have become such a great coach for me because I'm that guy that came out of the lockdown saying, I am a chef of my own kitchen. And you really embrace that with so many of your viewers that it's like, let's do it. Let's run with this.
I love it. It's true. It really is. I mean, we've got so many home cooks who are chefs, you know? I mean, they're sharing home recipes, but they're chefs.
Yeah.
Chefs at heart.
I got to ask you about something that I feel inside my heart is changing the culture of the nation. We have so many people moving here from New York and Florida and from California. Do you think inside your own personal journey that the flavors of all the regions are going to evolve?
You know, that's such a great question and such a great way to look at it. And yeah, absolutely. I think that is part of what happens through migration, right? So people are moving from different parts of the country, and they're not just bringing their luggage and their books and their furniture with them. They're also bringing their stories and their history and their lessons and their preferences. And so, of course, when folks are moving in, they're bringing their flavors, and that does eventually sort of kind of not necessarily just change, but I think maybe kind of evolve and add to the sort of beautiful tapestry of food within regions.
Wouldn't you say that the Great American Recipe also teaches people to have conversation about what they're eating? Because it's like so many times people like to just devour it and then go about their business. But because there's conversation on the show, it's like, I want to have that. I want to experience that moment where you break things down.
Exactly. And I hope that is what we're inspiring the viewers at home to do, which is to have the conversations with the people that they love about the food that they're eating. And that may be whether it's grandparents or parents or aunts or uncles, cousins, or maybe it's even just, your new coworkers or your roommate or your new friends. When you're going out to eat or going over to each other's houses or cooking for each other, kind of asking about those questions, asking like, where did you learn this? Where did you first have this? How do you make this? Teaching each other and learning from each other. I think it's just such a beautiful way to get to know each other on a deeper level. And it also preserves history and it preserves legacy, right? Like even if you just ask one question of your parents, your grandparents, or the older relatives in your family, I think that's just such a great thing that you can then hold on to and then pass on to future generations. It really is about legacy through recipe, through food.
Well, see, and to me, that's why you've got to write down the recipes and what happened during that dinner party, because the reason why is because, what I love to do is go back like 6 or 7 years in my writing and re-experience it through my eyes so I can get back in the kitchen. Let's see if I can do it 2 times and try to pass it on to the neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, that really is so smart, writing things down, because we think we're going to remember everything, and we think, and we're not. And also, none of us is going to be here forever, right? And so getting to put that stuff down really makes a difference, and it's important. Like, it's so special when you open up, say, an old family cookbook, and you see notations from a grandparent or a great-grandparent, because that's a part of your history, and just getting those little personal notes or saying, seeing what it is that they did, or who maybe, writing down the name of the guests or the menus and keeping track of all of that. It's your own personal archive. Like, I think people are always thinking of like documents like as the Constitution, right? But these recipes, these are our own family documents, and these things are just as important to ourselves and to the story of our families and of our nation.
One of the things that, and we talked about this a little bit earlier about how the Great American Recipe is really, embracing those of us that are cooking at home. But I also notice, as being a people watcher, how the conversations are taking place inside grocery stores, that people are asking the produce managers. They're going to the butcher and they're asking questions. I love listening to people ask questions.
Yes. I mean, well, then you're in the right job. You understand why questions are important, right? Because it's sort of, none of us knows everything. We are all here to learn, and asking questions, because everybody has some form of expertise. We are all good at something. We all know things that other people don't know. And it's so great to have that. So like you said, when you go, even to just, your grocery store or local store and the farmer's market, wherever it is, and if you see something that's weird or you don't know how to cook it or you find it a little bit intimidating, asking that produce person or the butcher or the farmer, whoever it is, how would you cook this? What would you do with this? Where do you store this? You're going to learn, and then it's going to help your cooking, and it's going to maybe hopefully inspire new dishes that then may become part of your family repertoire.
See, I would love local restaurants to do what you do, and that is to bring in their guests and show them how to do different things, not to judge them, because that's what I love about your judges. They don't judge. What they do is they share, and that is so important in the creativity in that kitchen.
Well, I mean, that's what sets our show apart. It really is such a loving show. It's an uplifting show. And like you said, our judges are judging, but they're judging within context, right, with understanding. And they're there to learn. And that is why it's not just taste, presentation, and execution. That's why it really is also about that story and the way that the dish sort of reflects the theme, because that is where we're getting the information that we need. That's the missing puzzle piece. And without that, how can you judge, right? How can you judge somebody's grandmother's soup if you don't know the story of how they made that soup and why they chose the ingredients that they chose and why it cooked for the amount of time that it did? Having that is what gives you that information. And then everybody gets to kind of grow and learn together. Oh,
you're speaking my street when you bring up soup, because that's my specialty. Because when I go and I buy things, it's like, I'm not going to use all of this now because I'm going to make a soup in the days ahead, and I need all of these ingredients. I love to make soup.
I love soup too. Honestly, there's just something about it that is always so cozy, so comforting. Even in the hottest summer days, like, I love a bowl of soup. And I think that, honestly, every culture has a version of soup. And that's one of the things that we do actually get to see on the show. Like, some of our challenges are kind of designed to see different versions of the same thing. Like, for example, we have a noodle challenge where every single one of their cooks shared a sort of pasta adjacent recipe from their culture. And we had savory recipes, we had sweet recipes, we had a cook who made the pasta from scratch.
Yes.
And it was just such a cool way to see, like, countries that are so diverse, and yet we do have things that we have in common. So whether that's soup or pasta or sandwiches or, empanadas and dumplings and things, we have these common denominators, and seeing the different interpretations is so exciting.
I have a friend from China that would tell me all the time, he says, make your soup scalding hot. And I'd say, why? I don't want to burn my tongue. It creates conversation. It'll slow you down.
That is a brilliant, brilliant tip. I love that so much. I hadn't heard that before, but yeah, it's true. It does slow you down, so you're kind of forced to sort of pause. We can use more pauses in our life.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Well, your show is brilliant. I embrace it. I share it. We speak about it, and I'm just so glad that you give yourself permission to be on the Great American Recipe.
Oh, thank you so much, Arrow. I mean, it really has been such a joy and an honor to be on the show and to host the show. I've learned so much from our home cooks, from our judges, and also from the viewers. I think that's what's really cool. I love how after every episode I would get emails and messages and social media messages from the viewers sharing their own recipes, and I really welcome that and invite folks to do that, and because it is so important to just tell those stories and to learn from each other, and I hope that it really encourages people to do that.
Oh my God, I love your heart. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Anytime, Arrow. It is always such a joy to chat with you. I feel like I learned so much just in these few minutes.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you. You too.